everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kathleen. In today's video, I wanted to go ahead and share with you guys my top 5 most disappointing books that I read in the year 2018. Usually January or the end of December. It's very popular to do these types of videos. I always do them, of course, every year as well. And I decided to start with my negative video first before I go into my top favorite books that I read in the year 2018. These books on my list, my top 5 most disappointing books, they're all either 2 stars or 2.5 stars. I expected more and they didn't live up to my expectations. They were very disappointing, some more than others, but we'll get into that. So let's go ahead and get started with my top 5 most disappointing books that I read in the year 2018. Alright, so the first book on this list, I believe I put this in the order of when I read them. So this was the first book in the year 2018 that was my most disappointed book, and that is Hit by Delilah Dawson. I bought this book many years ago. It was sitting on my shelf for the longest time, and I made it into one of my wrapped books for the year 2018, and I finally read it, and yeah, it was not good. So I bought this book primarily because I thought the cover was really cool. The cover is in the design of a credit card, and basically this book is set in a dystopian world, and it's about this credit card company, a very popular credit card company that everybody has a credit card with, and nobody read the fine print. But honestly, who the heck reads the fine prints of credit cards? Basically, there's a little clause that no one read in the credit card agreement form, and basically it says that if you are unable to pay your debt, you become an indentured servant to the company. And it's a very bizarre world. Basically, they go into your home, they're like, hey, you're not able to pay off your debt, you have a lot of money that you owe to us, so you're going to become an indentured servant to us. And basically what an indentured servant to them, it means that you are the one who has to go to other people who also owe money with this credit card and offer them the same choice. So you have to be like, become an indentured servant to this credit card company or you lose your life. I feel like this world was very unrealistic. The author made it seem like the government is okay, and also there's romance in this book, and it felt very forced. It was very insta-lovey. This whole book was forced and just not good. I think the first time I read this book, I rated it either a 2.5 stars or 3 stars, and I was just like, I went back like a few weeks later, I was like, this book does not deserve a 3 star, so I lowered it to 2 stars because the book was entertaining. It was very fast paced, so I got through it really quickly, and that's the only reason I ended up giving it an extra star. But otherwise, this book was just very weird. And the next book that I read in the year 2018 that was just very disappointing was A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. So this is a novella, and it's supposed to bridge the original trilogy of the ACOTAR series and the next 3 books that she's writing in this series. This book I felt like was the biggest waste of my time. I gave this book 2 stars. Basically, I felt like this book had no plot line. Sarah J. Maas marketed this book as the bridge between the first trilogy and the second trilogy, but this book gave no new information. I was expecting this book to give more information other than what we already know from the original trilogy for what to expect on the next trilogy, and it didn't do that. Basically, this book was a big pile of mush because it's all about Feyre and her coming to terms with after the war, finding out what to do, and pining over Rhys, and of course there's a sex scene, and this entire book is a build-up to that sex scene, to be perfectly honest, in my opinion. And it just, I felt like this book wasn't good. I was not impressed. I didn't like it, so I ended up giving this book 2 stars. And the next book that I read in 2018 that was just the biggest disappointment was First Life by Gina Showalter. I actually bought this book because I saw the ad for it on Facebook by the publisher, and it looked really interesting, but it sat on my shelves for the longest time, and so I ended up also making this a wrapped book, and it was just the biggest disappointment. So this is it's almost like sci-fi world, and it's all about you live your life on Earth, but your life on Earth is not the most important one. It's your afterlife. In your afterlife, you have 2 places you can go, and in these 2 places, they're always at war with each other because they want the best people to go to their afterlife, and because of this, they're all always sending people from the afterlife into our world in order to recruit these people, because these people, your life here on earth, you have to agree, when I die in my afterlife, I want to go to this place, and you sign an agreement form. These agents, they come to our world and they're here to recruit you. So there's this girl, I don't quite remember what she had that was so special about her, but she was a special snowflake. Both of these worlds were fighting over her, and she, for the life of me, would not make a choice. She had absolutely no reason as to why she wouldn't choose one place over another, but she just didn't want to make a choice, and it really frustrated me. It made me so angry. And one thing that I hate about main characters is their undecisiveness. Another thing that I hated about this book was the romance. So she becomes romantically involved with one of the agents that's supposed to recruit her, but she's so dumb. Basically, she, more than one time in this book, she's in a life-threatening situation, and she gets distracted by how attractive her agent is, her love interest is, that she doesn't realize that her life is in mortal peril. It drives me nuts. I couldn't stand her. She was so annoying when it came to that. I was like, girl, you're about to die. I couldn't stand this main character and her stupid, dumb decisions and her inability to stop getting distracted at very inconvenient times over her love interest. I thought the premise was really, really interesting with the whole afterlife thing, but it just did not live up to those expectations and that hype. And so I ended up giving this book 2 stars. And the next book that I read during the year 2018 that I thought was the biggest disappointment is the only book in this list that is a 2.5 stars, and that is King's Cage by Victoria Aveyard. So this is the 3rd book in the Red Queen series. It's a quartet, so there is one more book out which I have not read yet. The reason why honestly I was disappointed in this book is because it was boring. Nothing happened. I read this book just a few months ago, and personally I don't remember anything that happened. It was very sad because I loved the first book. Red Queen was a great book, and then the second book, Glass Sword, was okay. It wasn't great, but it was not like this. It wasn't boring like this. There was just a lot of plotting. I mean, there is some action towards the end of this book, but otherwise this book was just very unmemorable, and that is the reason why I was so disappointed in this book, because I really want to love this series because I really loved the first book. Yeah, I really hope that the 4th book is much better than this book. And the final book on this list is Girl of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson. I was so hoping that this book was going to be better than it was because I heard so many great things about it. I did not like it though. The only thing that I really liked about this book is the religious system of the series. It was really interesting. I really liked it, and I liked that it had some parallels with Christianity because I am a Christian myself, so I kind of saw the similarities, and I thought it was really, really cool and really, really interesting. The main character was very, for me, not very special, even though the author tried to make her special. She's basically not like the other girls. She's not the ideal body type, which the author liked to remind us all the time. She's a little bit on the heavy side, and the author liked to remind us all the time about how others are more beautiful than hers, and she's not the ideal body type, blah blah blah. And it really annoyed me being constantly reminded about how different she is, and I was just like, okay, get on with the story. But my biggest issue with this book is the fact that this book was just so boring. There's a lot of traveling in this book. There's a lot of things not happening in this book. The ending of this book was really, really cool. That's another thing that I liked about this book. The ending was just really cool. A lot of things happened, but otherwise this book was just the biggest disappointment compared to what I've heard about this book, and I really wanted to enjoy it, but I just didn't. It ended up being a 2-star rating for me. I am so sad because I really, really wanted to love this book, but it just didn't quite live up to what I was expecting for it. Anyway guys, there you go. That is my top 5 most disappointing books that I read in the year 2018. All of these books ended up being 2 stars. A lot of these books I really wanted to love, and a lot of these books I expected to love, but it just didn't quite happen. Let me know down in the comments below what was your most disappointing book that you read in the year 2018, because I would really love to know. Anyway guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. All of my social medias are linked down below, including Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads if you'd like to follow me on those platforms. I hope to see you guys on my next video, and stay tuned for my best books of 2018 that is coming up very soon. Bye bye.